everyone, I'm sitting around from Sparkling Memories, a place where you can develop and build healthy relationship with your food, pairs, and yourself. And today's topic, we're going to talk about immature people, and as far as if you're dealing with immature person. Now, there's 12 different things. Yes, 12, not even 9, normally 7. So, the first thing you want to get when it comes to dealing with immature person is know whether or not you're dealing with an immature person. You could be dealing with a mature person, but they're just not ready for you yet. But how do you know the difference? Because knowing the difference can be the difference between you having drama and stress that you sure don't want to go about dealing with on a constant basis. And yes, it's very hard to spot if you're not really looking for different signs in terms of red flags. And not all the time you're looking for red flags. We're just looking for someone to actually spend our time with and to do it effectively. We're not going to go out and set out to be with someone that's immature. But what happens when you do find someone that's immature? Do you cut them off? Do you have a conversation? Or do you just ghost them? Don't call, don't text, don't do anything. What would you do if you've been up to someone that you consider that's immature? Well, here's 12 different rings. And you tell me. First thing, when you're dealing with an immature person, the person always acts like as if you're the problem. Okay? They can't do anything wrong. Everything is your fault. And you should have told me this, and you should have told me that, and you should have reminded me. A lot of you, and none of I. You know why there's no I? Because they blame you for everything under the sun. A lot of times they do not apologize, and they blame you for their half doing, or the in between thinking of what they do. They're trying to blame it on you. A lot of times these kind of people are narcissists. And narcissist behavior really stands for someone that's overthinking self-love, and they go to an extreme with it. That's why we start calling them narcissists. Yes, it might be hard to understand, but it could be very simple if you actually sit and think about it. When you're dealing with an immature person, they have such a spending habit, and it's like, oh my goodness, seriously? How are you going to buy something like that? And you only got a certain amount of money. And do you even realize how much money you're going to have after you purchase the item? Have you even thought about it? No. When you say an immature person, they go off of impulse. They don't worry about the consequences afterwards. They don't sit and wait and tell you exactly, okay, can I afford this item? Would it put me in a debt? Or do I even need this item? They don't analyze the situation. They literally take the money and they spend it right away. That's why you know you're dealing with an immature person. The second thing when it comes to dealing with an immature person, they always lie. They lie about the simplest of things. They lie about things that they shouldn't even be lying about. Why? Because it's cool to have this kind of image and presume this type of image, so no one don't perceive them as boring or plain or just uninventive. A lot of times people do that as a form of image to make themselves look a certain type of way, but really you're dealing with someone that's immature. Because if you're so worried about being plain and not out there like everyone else, then you're really wasting your time. You need someone that actually knows themselves and knows their self-worth and knows what they can and cannot do. You shouldn't have to do all these things to get someone's attention. You shouldn't be that kind of person we need to be an attention seeker. You literally need to know yourself and love yourself enough to know that you're okay. And it's okay not to be like everyone else, because if you are designed to be like someone else, guess what? We all walk around in the same clothes. We all have the same hair. We all look alike. That's not how it's designed to be. So when you're dealing with an immature person, don't let them give these kind of excuses. They'll give you excuses because that's what they do. Now, the third thing, they'll have a conversation with you, right? And they don't want to talk about anything besides food or sex. You should be able to have an intelligent conversation with like what's going on in the world, politics, or even something besides food and sex, and have an actual and stimulating conversation. I'm not saying the person have to be Albert Einstein and just down and do equations and all that kind of stuff. No, I'm just saying to have an actual conversation that have to do with food and sex. I mean, it's very simple. There's other things in the world besides that you can talk about. You know, the only people think that that's the only things that interest. If that's the only thing that interests them, then maybe you're dealing with someone that's immature. A lot of times they're not responsible when it comes to dealing with situations, so they tend to want to insult you. They give you heavy insults instead of addressing that, yes, you have a problem. You're the one with the issue. And the thing is, they don't like to admit that they have an issue. They like to admit that you need them and everything you say is wrong and everything they do is right, you're dealing with a person that has narcissistic behaviors, okay? When you're dealing with an immature person, because a type of immature person is a narcissist, to be honest with you. And you don't want to be that kind of person dealing with somebody in BS because it looks convenient or something to do. You want to deal with someone that's actually willing and participant. You don't want to be half with someone that's just poor when it comes to listening. That's the fourth thing. Poor listening skills. If what you say go through one ear, come through the next. When you talk, it's like you talking to a wall because they're literally not listening. They're listening for you to hear what they have to say, and then it goes completely dead, because it's like as if they're not listening to what you're saying. They're only interested in what you are saying if it has something pertaining to them, because they love being in the spotlight. Okay, we deal with an immature person. They feel comfortable in the spotlight, and when the spotlight is not off of them, then all of a sudden they want to attack you or they want to bully you in order to make themselves feel very important. That's the fifth thing. They tend to bully you. They're not very supportive of you, and everything you do is wrong. Everything they do is right. And then the thing is, when you're trying to have an actual conversation with them, it's like, okay. And that is not something you want to deal with. Where a mature person will have their thoughts and about their facts and opinions and why they feel the way they do. And if they don't have a fact or opinion, I'm not saying they're not mature when they don't have that. I'm just saying when you're dealing with a mature person or a mature person in your relationship, then they could have their thoughts. They're going to have an opinion. A lot of times, if they don't have thoughts or opinion, probably don't care about what you're talking about. I know that sounds very hard, but sometimes it is. You need to deal with someone who actually respects you enough to listen to what you have to say. You don't want to be with a narcissist, because a narcissist is just a person that has a lot of issues that you probably don't want to deal with at no point in time in your life. And the thing is, when you're dealing with someone that's like that, the sixth thing, they tend to make a lot of mistakes. You try to help them. You try to tell them exactly why they made a mistake, how they can fix it, how they can do things better. But guess what? It's going on deaf ears because that person is literally not listening. You know why they're not listening? Because it's not something that they feel they have to. Some people are literally comfortable in the position they're in. They don't want to advance. And if they do advance, it's because they see something in it for themselves and they're not going beyond that. And a lot of times, if you deal with an immature person, you deal with so many situations, and you may not even realize that you're dealing with somebody that is not cohesive to what you have going on. Now, as far as the other type of steps, say for instance, you with someone and you tell them exactly what you respect in terms of relationship, and the person goes off the handle and they'll probably do things according to what you want to do at a particular time. You say, look, Bobby, I need you to do X, Y, and Z. You think Bobby's going to do it? Yeah, he might for a certain time. I think he gets you comfortable, and then he goes back into the same frame of mind he was doing. Why? Because the person doesn't even care about what's going on. They care about getting what they want out of it, and you was there as a sum of convenience. When you're dealing with a mature person, you could actually do a lot more and be a lot more, because there's a give and take. There's someone that's giving and someone that's taking. We have someone that's constantly taking, then guess what? You're dealing with someone that's a user. You're dealing with someone that's literally abusing your kindness for weakness. And literally, you don't want to deal with that. You want to be happy. When you get to a stage when you want to be an adult, you have to do adult things. And if someone has to constantly keep telling you what adult things are, maybe you might not know, and maybe you don't want to know, or you don't care to know. It comes to a time we have to distinguish if you're dealing with a mature person or an immature person. A lot of times the actions and what they say to you versus what they do is who they are. It's not who they are in that particular time, and that's it. People can advance from that and be better, but the person has to want that for themselves. You can want it for that person all they want, but they have to see it in themselves that you are being immature. You're being a child. You're doing childish activity, and you need to grow from that. A lot of times you deal with someone that's immature, and you won't realize the person isn't on the same level with you until they start showing all these red flags, and then you have to figure out, okay, is this a mature person or is this an immature person? And only you can decide if this person is right for you But if you're dealing with a mature person in your relationship, that it will grow and advance. Immature, more than likely you will fall apart. Really simple, I know. Till next time, this is Miss Citron from Sparkling Memories. Bye bye.